Okay, let's see. Get my lighting right. I still haven't figured this lighting out yet, but we get the lighting right. We're gonna get our little TikTok friends. I do the live on TikTok as well, and the I'm not gonna sing. I wish we could, but I'm not. TikTok live, and then we'll read some poetry. So if you see this, it'll probably be after. Just feel free to make a request anyway, because I'll check the comments and be glad to do a poem either on a live or as a post. And if you're an author that does you write your own stuff and you kind of want to hear like what would it sound like if someone read it out loud, let me know. I do it a lot on TikTok live. So yeah. Anyway, let me get our TikTok friends going here, and then we'll just get to reading. All right. Here we go. I think we're cooking with gas, as they say. All right. I don't know what we're going to start off with tonight, reading wise. Let's see. Maybe a little Lord Tennyson. I don't know. How about The Eagle from Alfred Lord Tennyson? He clasps the crag with crooked hands. Close to the sun in lonely lands, ringed with the azure world, he stands. The wrinkled sea beneath him crawls. He watches from his mountain walls, and like a thunderbolt he falls. Alfred Lord Tennyson, The Eagle. That reminds me of being out on the river with my grandpa and watching the ospreys come down out of the trees and hit the water. Yeah, super cool. Let's see what else we got. Here is Milton by Lord Tennyson. O mighty mouthed inventor of harmonies, O skilled to sing of time or eternity, God gifted organ voice of England, Milton, a name to resound for ages, whose Titan angels, Gabriel, Abdiel, starred from Jehovah's gorgeous armories tower, as the deep domed Imperium rings to the roar of an angel onset. Me rather all that bowery loneliness, the brooks of Eden mazily murmuring, and bloom profuse and cedar arches charm as a wanderer out in ocean, streamed o'er a rich ambrosial ocean isle, and crimson hued the stately palm woods whisper in odorous heights of even. He had a very high opinion of Milton, wouldn't you say? That was cool. What a writer. What a writer. That was Alfred Lord Tennyson with Milton. All right, here's another one from Lord Tennyson on our little Tennyson kick here. I'm probably going to turn that light out. I don't know. The Miller's Daughter, Alfred Lord Tennyson. It is the miller's daughter, and she is grown so dear, that I would be the jewel that trembles at her ear. For hidden ringlets day and night, I'd touch her neck so warm and white, and I would be the girdle about her dainty, dainty waist, and her heart would beat against me in sorrow and in rest. And I should know if it beat right, I'd clasp it round so close and tight. And I would be the necklace all day long to fall and rise upon her balmy bosom, with her laughter or her sighs, and I would lie so light, I scarce should be unclasped at night. The Miller's Daughter by Alfred Lord Tennyson. If anybody's got a on TikTok or YouTube, because I'm recording these now and putting them on YouTube. That way, we'll have them. If you have a request, let me know and I'll see if I can read it. If it's not too terribly long. Um, yeah, I just kind of like to do this kind of thing before bed. Get some, get some reading done. This is great practice, and it's fun to connect with people that, um, also like literature. Here is John Milton. This looks like a sonnet to Oliver Cromwell. Reese, how you doing? Cromwell, our chief of men, who through a cloud, not of war only, but detractions rude, guided by faith and matchless fortitude, to peace and truth thy glorious way hast ploughed, and on the neck of crowned fortune proud hast reared God's trophies and his work pursued, while Darwin's stream with blood of Scots imbrued, and Dunbar field resounds thy praises loud, and Worcester's laureate wreath yet much remains to conquer still. Peace hath her victories no less renowned than war. New foes arise, threatening to bind our souls with secular chains. Help us to save free conscience from the paw of hireling wolves whose gospel is their maw. That was John Milton's Sonnet 16. Sonnet 16 by John Milton. And yeah, so just this week I started, I was like, well, we're on here a lot. I'll just put it on my YouTube. And so um, I have been, what do you call it? Recording the live and then just sticking it on YouTube. And then, so if you ever like need some poetry before bed, you can always check the old YouTube channel link in the bio. Thank you, Reese. I really appreciate that. Um, uh, Dolce eat decorum. Dolce et decorum. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me see. Because I could not stop for death. Yes, we could definitely do that one. Love that one. Uh, you're a vet. What are you? What? Tell me about your service. What branch? That kind of thing. So this uh, this poem is by a guy named Wilfred Owen. 4 years air defense. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think we've talked about this, right? I don't meet many of you air defense uh, folks. Reese, yes, I have read books. In my bio, you can see I've done some classic compilations, and then I've done a few things under different pen name or narrator names. And most of them are when I'm just starting out. So, like, I've done a couple history books, like a couple westerns, and I don't think most of them are great, but yes, I've done, I think, 26 audiobooks, I think. But a lot of stuff you can find in my link tree in my bio. So you could find my books on Audible, and then have my podcast in there, my YouTube, that kind of thing, with a lot of that kind of stuff. Okay, so this one is about a basically World War One gas attack, and it's by a guy named Wilfred Owen. A good deal. I hope you will, and yeah, let me know what you think. Bent double like old beggars under sacks, knock-kneed, coughing like hags, we cursed through sludge, till on the haunting flares we turned our backs, and towards our distant rest began to trudge. Men marched asleep. Many had lost their boots, but limped on, bloodshod. All went lame, all blind, drunk with fatigue, deaf even to the hoots of gas shells dropping softly behind. Gas, gas, quick, boys! An ecstasy of fumbling, fitting the clumsy helmets just in time. But someone still was yelling out and stumbling and floundering like a man in fire or lime. Dim through the misty panes and thick green light, as under a green sea, I saw him drowning. In all my dreams before my helpless sight, he plunges at me, guttering, choking, drowning. If in some smothering dreams you too could pace behind the wagon that we flung him in and watch the wide eyes writhing in his hanging face like a devil's sick of sin, if you could hear at every jolt the blood come gargling from the froth-corrupted lungs, obscene as cancer, bitter as the cut of vile, incurable sores on innocent tongues. My friend, you would not tell with such high zest to children ardent for some desperate glory the old lie, dulce et decorum est pro patria mori. War is not cool. War is horrific. That's a fantastic poem because that's about as romantic as war is right there. War is horrific. When I hear these politicians, these overweight politicians saying we need to send folks, and I'm like, get that guy out of here. Nolan, what's going on? I think that's a fantastic poem to teach a bunch of 8th graders. That'll make you sit up and listen. It's kind of shocking in a good way. That's awesome. Well, thank you for your service. I appreciate that. Okay. Spiritual medium Pilecki, if I'm saying that right. Because I could not stop for death. I think the best version of that I've ever seen is it Christopher Eggleston, I think? One of the Doctor Who guys. I know it's Eggleston. I can't remember his first name. He kind of recites it, and it'll make your skin crawl. It's brilliant. Okay. Let's see here. Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality. We slowly drove, he knew no haste, and I had put away my labor and my leisure too, for his civility. We passed the school where children strove at recess in the ring. We passed the fields of gazing grain. We passed the setting sun, or rather, he passed us. The dews drew quivering and chill, for only gossamer my gown, my tippet, only tulle. We paused before a house that seemed a swelling of the ground. The roof was scarcely visible, the cornice in the ground. Since then, 'tis centuries, and yet feels shorter than the day I first surmised the horses' heads were toward eternity. Emily Dickinson, because I could not stop for death. What's up, Austin? Yeah, it's EGG, like Eggleston. So I know the last name. If you think it's Chris, I thought it was Chris, but I'm not sure. I wasn't sure. So I think we're good. Christopher Eggleston is who I'm referring to. You're very welcome. That was a great poem. Great request. Pretty sure you're right. I'm pretty sure I'm right too. And if you're pretty sure about the first, I think we make an unstoppable team. Could you please read Listen to the Mustn'ts? Let's see if I can find that. It's not very hard to get me to read Shel Silverstein. Um, listen to the mustn'ts. Okay. Let's see. Well, I had a mentioned I'm doing this on Facebook. Okay. Listen to the Mustn'ts by Shel Silverstein. Listen to mustn'ts, child. Listen to the don'ts. Listen to the shouldn'ts, the impossibles, the won'ts. Listen to the never haves, then listen close to me. Anything can happen, child. Anything can be. Shel Silverstein. Listen to the mustn'ts. All right, we had Justin from Facebook request Cowboy is His Name by Baxter Black. Cowboy is his name. There's 100 years of history, and 100 years before that, all gathered into thinking going on beneath this hat. The cold flame burns within him till his skin's as cold as ice, and the dues he's paid to get here are worth every sacrifice. All the miles spent All the miles spent sleepy driving, all the money down the drain, all the if I's and nearlies, all the bandages and pain, all the female tears left drying, all the fever and the fight are just a small down payment on the ride he makes tonight. It's guts and love and glory, one mortal's chance at fame. His legacy is rodeo, and cowboy is his name. That's from the movie 8 Seconds. Good one, Justin. Put that over there. Good one, good one. Nolan, have a good one. Austin, I appreciate it, brother. Have a great day at work tomorrow. Yeah, Shel Silverstein is he's kind of I think a pretty awful person in real life, but his a lot of his kid stuff is just absolutely wonderful. No, Olivia, I am drinking some coffee. I'm going to be up a little while tonight, so I thought, you know what? There's a local roaster, and I said I was at a coffee shop earlier today. I got a roast from a guy here in town, and then I just ground it up down the hatch. Oh, I thought you okay. I see what you're saying. You have anything in particular? People are always guessing what's in there, so I didn't actually see the I. Now I do. I saw RUM question mark. Are you boozing? Like, no, just some coffee. Um, let's see. Yeah, if you have a certain one, I'd be glad to look it up. Since I think if it's the same one I'm thinking of, he's Persian. So obviously in English, I mean, it'd be cool, but it's not going to be as cool as it would have sounded with him actually writing it in his native tongue. I am in Mississippi. Uh, Ni- Ninig, Nig. I am waiting on the weather to get cooler. Not holding my breath. Oh, Greenwood, good deal. Good deal. Hail State, that's right. I'm no Ole Miss rebel here. I'm a Bulldog. Okay, what do we got? What's next? Hotty toddy, oh gosh. No, I don't hate Ole Miss. I just root for the dogs in the Egg Bowl. I root for Ole Miss anytime we're not playing them. Like I like to see Mississippi do well. Lord knows we're not good in a lot of stuff, so we're decent in football. Go Dogs, that's right. And I really liked what um, Lane Kiffin and Mike Leach, the late Mike Leach, had going as far as the Egg Bowl. I liked the much more classy type of competition that they were um, fostering. Yeah, for sure. As I walked out one evening by Auden, let me see. That is a Facebook. So I'm on TikTok and Facebook, and I'm kind of taking requests from both. So if I look away, that's what this is. Auden. Let's see. As I walked out one, whoops, one evening. All right. Kiffin's a funny guy. He's very entertaining. Like if he wasn't in football, if he was your boss in the IT center, you would be entertained, I'm pretty sure. And Mike Leach was that way too. Okay. As I walked out one evening by W.H. Auden. As I walked out one evening, walking down Bristol Street, the crowds upon the pavement were fields of harvest wheat. And down by the brimming river, I heard a lover sing under an arch of the railway, "Love has no ending. I'll love you, dear, I'll love you till China and Africa meet, and the river jumps over the mountain, and the salmon sing in the street. I'll love you till the ocean is folded and hung up to dry, and the seven stars go squawking like geese about the sky. The years shall run like rabbits, for in my arms I hold the flower of the ages and the first love of the world." But all the clocks in the city began to whir and chime. Oh, let not time deceive you, you cannot conquer time. In the burrows of the nightmare, where justice naked is, time watches from the shadow and coughs when you would kiss. In headaches and in worry, vaguely life leaks away, and time will have his fancy tomorrow or today. Into many a green valley drifts the appalling snow. Time breaks the threaded dances and the diver's brilliant bow. Oh, plunge your hands in water, plunge them in up to the wrist. Stare into the basin and wonder what you've missed. The glacier knocks in the cupboard, and the desert sighs in the bed, and the crack in the teacup opens a lane to the land of the dead, where the beggars raffle the banknotes, and the giant is enchanting to Jack, and the lily white boy is a roarer, and Jill goes down on her back, And oh, look in the mirror. Oh, look in your distress. Life remains a blessing, although you cannot bless. Oh, stand at the window as the tears scald and start. You shall love your crooked neighbor with your crooked heart. It was late, late in the evening. The lovers, they were gone. The clocks had ceased their chiming, and the deep river ran on. W.H. Auden. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate the rose. You an Ole Miss fan. Okay, let's see what else we got. Oh, you're very welcome. I think that was I think that's a great. I heard Tom Hiddleston, who's my favorite person to listen to read poetry. I think I heard him read that one time, and he's he's good. He's amazing. But yeah, Alden, he's a really good writer. Laurel the Giggler. That's a good name. That's a good name. I like it. Here's one of Lord Byron's stanzas for music. So he had several called stanzas for music. This is one of them. There be none of beauty's daughters with a magic like thee, and like music on the waters is thy sweet voice to me. When, as if its sounds were causing the charmed oceans pausing, the waves lie still and gleaming, and the lulled winds seem dreaming, and the midnight moon is weaving her bright chain o'er the deep, whose breast is gently heaving as an infant's asleep. So the spirit bows before thee to listen and adore thee with a full but soft emotion like the swell of summer's ocean. Lord Byron. Hmm. Here's another Lord Byron. I think am I caught up on requests? I think I am. When we two parted. When we two parted in silence and tears, half broken hearted to sever for years, pale grew thy cheek and cold, colder thy kiss. Truly that hour foretold sorrow to this. The dew of the morning sunk chill on my brow. It felt like the warning of what I feel now. Thy vows are all broken, and light is thy fame. I hear thy name spoken, and share in its shame. Thy name, they name thee before me, a knell to mine ear. A shudder comes o'er me. Why wert thou so dear? They know not I knew thee, who knew thee too well. Long, long shall I rue thee, too deeply to tell. In secret we met, in silence I grieve, that thy heart could forget, thy spirit deceive. If I, oh, sorry, turn the page, missed one little bit. If I should meet thee after long years, how should I greet thee? In silence and tears. Lord Byron, when we two parted. Find me another, let's see, another book. There we go. We got Lord Byron. We've got William Butler Yeats. Yeah. I have got Treasury of Poems. That's about everybody from Christopher Marlowe and William Shakespeare. Uh, uh, Joyce Kilmer, Trees. Is that one? I think I shall never see something lovely as a tree. The and then up to about Dylan Thomas is probably the newest one. T.S. Eliot, Dylan Thomas. Trees. Let's see. Pretty sure that's it. Okay. I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the earth's sweet flowing breast, a tree that looks at God all day and lifts her leafy arms to pray, a tree that may in summer wear a nest of robins in her hair, upon whose bosom snow has lain, who intimately lives with rain. Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree. Joyce Kilmer, Trees. He got killed in World War I. It's very, very sad. Let's see. You're welcome. That's great. That's a great one. Walrus and the Carpenter. I've never heard of that one. Let me see. All right. Let's see. The Walrus and the Carpenter by Lewis Carroll. The sun was shining on the sea, shining with all his might. He did his very best to make the billows smooth and bright, and this was odd because it was the middle of the night. The moon was shining sulkily because she thought the sun had got no business to be there after the day was done. "It's very rude of him," she said, "to come and spoil the fun." The sea was wet as wet could be. The sands were dry as dry. You could not see a cloud because no cloud was in the sky. No birds were flying overhead. There were no birds to fly. The walrus and the carpenter were walking close at hand. They wept like anything to see such quantities of sand. If this were only cleared away, they said, it would be grand. If 7 maids with 7 mops swept it for half a year, do you suppose, the walrus said, that they could get it clear? "I doubt it," said the carpenter, and shed a bitter tear. "Oh, oysters, come and walk with us," the walrus did beseech. "A pleasant walk, a pleasant talk along the briny beach. We cannot do with more than 4 to give us a hand to each." The eldest oyster looked at him, but never a word he said. The eldest oyster winked his eye and shook his heavy head, meaning to say he did not choose to leave the oyster bed. But 4 young oysters hurried up, all eager for the treat. Their coats were brushed, their faces washed, their shoes were clean and neat. And this was odd because, they hadn't any feet. 4 other oysters followed them, and yet another 4, and thick and fast they came at last, and more and more and more, all hopping through the frothy waves and scrambling to the shore. The walrus and the carpenter walked on a mile or so, and then they rested on a rock, conveniently low, and all the little oysters stood and waited in a row. "The time has come," the walrus said, "to talk of many things, of shoes and ships and sealing wax, of cabbages and kings, and why the sea is boiling hot, and whether pigs have wings." "But wait a bit," the oysters cried, "before we have our chat, for some of us are out of breath, and all of us are fat." "No hurry," said the carpenter. They thanked him much for that. "A loaf of bread," the walrus said, "is what we chiefly need. Pepper and vinegar besides are very good indeed. Now, if you're ready, oysters dear, we can begin to feed. But not on us, the oysters cried, turning a little blue. After such kindness, that would be a dismal thing to do. The night is fine, the walrus said. Do you admire the view? It was so kind of you to come, and you are very nice. The carpenter said nothing, but cut us another slice. I wish you were not quite so deaf. I've had to ask you twice. It seems a shame, the walrus said, to play them such a trick, after we've brought them out so far and made them trot so quick. The carpenter said nothing, but the butters spread too thick. I weep for you, the walrus said. I deeply sympathize. With sobs and tears, he sorted out those of the largest size, holding his pocket handkerchief before his streaming eyes. Oh, oysters, said the carpenter, you've had a pleasant run. Shall we be trotting home again? But answer came there none. And this was scarcely odd because they'd eaten every one. The Walrus and the Oyster by Lewis Carroll. Thank you very much for the rose, Tristan. I need to go get a little cooler for my computer fan here to try to get my computer kind of cooled down a little. Give me like 2 seconds. I'm gonna be right back. Whoa. Whoops. Uh-oh. Got so many wires around here. Okay. Yeah, give me 2 seconds. Pinch to the chin. Right. Okie dokie. Let's see if I can get this swapped out. All right. Get situated back. So we good? Okay. All right. I think we're good. I think we're just about good. Hopefully that fan will kick off here in a second. Okay, where were we? Here is William Butler Yeats, and this is The Folly of Being Comforted. One that is ever kind said yesterday, your well-beloved's hair has threads of gray, and little shadows come about her eyes. Time can make it easier to be wise, though now it seems impossible, and so all that you need is patience. Heart cries, no, I have not a crumb of comfort, not a grain. Time can but make her beauty over again. Because of that great nobleness of hers, the fire that stirs about her when she stirs burns but more clearly. Oh, had she not these ways when all this wild summer was in her gaze? Oh, heart, if she'd but turned her head, if she'd but turn her head, if she'd but turn her head, you'd know the folly of being comforted. And that's William Butler Yeats, The Folly of Being Comforted. I had my, I think there it is. I've got books scattered all over the floor and the desk and things like that. Here we go. All right, so here are some Shakespeare sonnets. Here's Sonnet 2. When 40 winters shall besiege thy brow, and dig deep trenches in thy beauty's field, thy youth's proud livery, so gazed on now, will be a tattered weed of small worth held. Then being asked where all thy beauty lies, where all the treasure of thy lusty days, to say within thine own deep sunken eyes, where an all-eating shame and thriftless praise, how much more praise deserved thy beauty's use, if thou couldst answer, this fair child of mine shall sum my count, and make my old excuse, proving his beauty by succession thine. This were to be new made when thou art old, and see thy blood warm when thou feelst it cold. Yeah. Number two. You have a do you have a favorite? You have one you want to hear? And it doesn't have to be a sonnet. It could be another passage, perhaps, if we can find it. So yeah, we've done Baxter Black. Justin asked for Cowboy as his name. We did that. We've done William Shakespeare. We've done As I Walked Out One Evening by Auden. We've done William Butler Yeats. We have done Emily Dickinson. We've covered a lot of ground. This is fun. I enjoy being around people that enjoy poetry, because not everybody does. So I really appreciate people that are. Sonnet 74. Let's see. I've got two books of sonnets. One of them is Roman numeraled, and the other one just says the number. So let me see. Okay. It'll be what's that? Is that LXXIV? Would that be what that is? LXXI. No. Wait. Oh, yes. Okay. All right. But be contented when that fell arrest without all bail shall carry me away. My life hath in this line some interest, which for memorial still with thee shall stay. When thou reviewest this, thou dost review the very part was consecrate to thee. The earth can have but earth, which is his due. My spirit is thine, the better part of me. So then thou hast but lost the dregs of life, the prey of worms, my body being dead, the coward conquest of a wretch's knife, too base of thee to be remembered. The worth of that is that which it contains, and that is this, and this with thee remains. Good one. Sonnet 74. Let's see. How about Frost? Excuse me. Robert Frost poems. Do you have a particular one? Let's see. So, how about Robert Frost, The Tuft of Flowers? I went to turn the grass once after one who mowed it in the dew before the sun. The dew was gone that made his blade so keen before I came to view the leveled scene. I looked for him behind an aisle of trees. I listened. I listened for his whetstone on the breeze. But he had gone his way, the grass all mown, and I must be as he had been, alone. As all must be, I said within my heart, whether they work together or apart. But as I said it, swift there passed me by on noiseless wing a wildered butterfly, seeking with memories grown dim or night some resting flower of yesterday's delight. And once I marked his flight go round and round, as where some flower lay withering on the ground. And then he flew as far as I could see, and then on tremulous wing came back to me. I thought of questions that have no reply, and would have turned to toss the grass to dry. But he turned first and led my eye to look at a tall tuft of flowers beside a brook. A leaping tongue of bloom the scythe had spared, beside a reedy brook the scythe had bared. I left my place to know them by their name, finding them butterfly weed when I came. The mower in the dew had loved them thus, by leaving them to flourish, not for us, nor yet to draw one thought of ours to him, but from sheer morning gladness at the brim. The butterfly and I lit upon, nevertheless, a message from the dawn that made me hear the wakening birds around, and hear his long scythe whispering to the ground, and feel a spirit kindred to my own, so that henceforth I worked no more alone, but glad with him I worked, as with his aid, and weary sought at noon with him the shade, and dreaming, as it were, held brotherly speech with one whose thought I had not hoped to reach. Men work together, I told him from the heart, whether they work together or apart. It is The Tuft of Flowers by Robert Frost. Yeah, he might have. He definitely might have read it. I'm sure he was. I love that one. Ode to a Nightingale. Beautiful. And yeah, if you are on the YouTube live or the TikTok, hey Marley, yeah, come on in. If you're on YouTube or TikTok, because I got both running at the same time, YouTube, so we can save it for posterity. Feel free to drop a comment, a request. Marla, we just did some Robert Frost, Tuft of Flowers. We did, what did we do before that? Sonnet 74. By Shakespeare. Here's another one by Robert Frost, Reluctance. Out through the fields and the woods and over the walls I have wended. I have climbed the hills of view and looked at the world and descended. I have come by the highway home, and lo, it is ended. The leaves are all dead on the ground, save those that the oak is keeping to ravel them one by one, and let them go scraping and creeping out over the crusted snow when others are sleeping. And the dead leaves lie huddled and still, no longer blown hither and thither. The last lone aster is gone, the flowers of the witch hazel wither. The heart is still aching to seek, but the feet question, whither? Ah, when to the heart of man was it ever less than a treason to go with the drift of things, to yield with a grace to reason, and bow and accept the end of a love or a season. That was Reluctance by Robert Frost. Christian, yes, absolutely. How you doing, Christian? Christian is Christian's a great follow. Very wise man. All right, If by Rudyard Kipling. If by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build 'em up with worn out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they're gone, and so hold on when there's nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. If by Rudyard Kipling. Good, good one, Christian. I like that one. I think a lot of us can remember our dads or whoever, um, or some person we admired read that to us. No, you ought to. That's what poetry is for. A lot of the great poets, the they're always referencing like some other great poet. You know what I mean? Like that happens a lot. That means you have the mind of a great poet. If reading a poem, you want to go write another one. Okay, let's see. Miss, how you doing? When I Die, I Want Your Hands on My Eyes by Pablo Neruda. Let me see if I can find that one. Yeah, Marla, that's a good like advice type of poem. That was just it's really good. I like that one. Okay. All right. Pablo Neruda. When I die, I want your hands on my eyes. When I die, I want your hands on my eyes. I want the light and the wheat of your beloved hands to pass their freshness over me one more time, to feel the smoothness that changed my destiny. I want you to live while I wait for you, asleep. I want for your ears to go on hearing the wind, for you to smell the sea that we loved together, and for you to go on walking the sand where we walked. I want for what I love to go on living, and as for you, I loved you and sang you above everything. For that, go on flowering, flowery one, so that you reach all that my love orders for you, so that my shadow passes through your hair, so that they know by this reason, so that they know by this the reason for my song. Pablo Neruda, When I Die, I Want Your Hands on My Eyes. Beautiful. Good choice. Good choice. Yeah, that's you bet. Go write you that poem. Let's see what else. Maybe yeah, that's a beautiful document. That was a beautiful letter. You're very welcome. Thank you for suggesting that one. That was good. I did that one once with um and posted it on the main post. It's probably over a year ago, but with the Ashokan farewell song in the background, so that was cool. I always thought that was like some old folk song, but I was shocked to learn that was written very recently. I mean, it's just gorgeous that the the Ashokan farewell. Oh, your grandpa used to read that to you. That's great. That's wonderful. Those kind are the best for me. Like that. In my case, my dad was the one that got me into poetry, but the poems he would read, I always remember those. Okay, the Gettysburg Address. Um, I'm kind of the same way as far as the modern structure. I'm kind of a Lord Tennyson, Elizabeth Barrett Browning, Longfellow. I kind of like that. John Donne, fantastic. How about this? Let's do the Gettysburg Address, and then we'll do No Man is an Island or something like that. Uh, yeah, I want to pass. I want to get that. I get a lot of email from people that listen to my podcast that say, like, "Hey, like the whole family listens to the poetry, on the way to school or whatever," and I love that. I think that's so cool. Okay, okay, Gettysburg Address full text. Okay, all right. Now this is a little footnote, and it says this is the Bliss copy. So, there are a couple different versions out there, but this is the Bliss the Bliss copy. 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. It was delivered November 19th of 1863. And oh, that's a good one. Man in the Arena. Now, and just going back to Gettysburg Address, the spot, it's kind of, if you're on the battlefield, it's across from the Confederate line on Seminary Ridge. It's on the right side of the Union line. And it was basically the battle was fought in July, in the middle of summer, and all the trees and all the leaves got shot off the trees. So it looked like winter from July. You know what I mean? So the leaves never came back. So here, just a few months later, they had just pretty much finished burying everybody. It was still an absolute hellhole there that they were gathered up. I mean, it was awful. That would have been that's moving just here decades and decades later. But man, then that would have, you'd have been crying. Yep, David, same here. Last full measure of devotion. That is there's a lot of movie titles, book titles, and famous quotes that come from that. Like what do you call it? Like all men are created equal. Obviously, Martin Luther King had that in his speech. It is for us the living. There was I think a book called For Us the Living. Last Full Measure. That's another book. Yeah. Anyway, that's a real classic of American history right there. And David, what were you? What branch were you, brother? We may have talked about this before, but I forget. Let me see. Can do this man in the arena quote. This is just an excerpt from it, but this is from Theodore Roosevelt, who said, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs but comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat." Folks don't write like that anymore. Our politicians, a lot of them used to be real, like, eloquent. We kind of lost that. Air Force, Shield Storm. Good deal. Well, thank you for your service. He did. What was the one? The Bixby letter or something like that. That was one of them. I know he probably wrote a ton of them. Played around in gunships. Were you like pararescue or something? What were you? John Donne was requested. It certainly was. Thank you. I'm getting off on a tangent. Let me read this Bixby letter real quick. So this is from Abraham Lincoln. I've been shown in the files of the War Department a statement of the Adjutant General of Massachusetts that you are the mother of 5 sons who have died gloriously on the field of battle. I feel how weak and fruitless must be any words of mine which should attempt to beguile you from the grief of a loss so overwhelming. But I cannot refrain from tendering to you the consolation that may be found in the thanks of the Republic they died to save. I pray that our Heavenly Father may assuage the grief of your bereavement and leave you only the cherished memory of the loved and lost, and the solemn pride that must be yours to have laid so costly a sacrifice upon the altar of freedom. That was something. Flight engineer, good deal. Good deal. Yeah, that's heavy. Man. All right. John Donne. No man is an island. No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less, as well as if a promontory were, as well as if a manor of thy friends or of thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never sinned to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. All right, Marcus E. Landscape and romantic poetry reading would help me go to sleep. You know what, Marcus? On YouTube, I've got TikTok, YouTube. Marcus on YouTube. I am the exact same way, actually. So I am very happy to do something along those lines. How's about a little William Wordsworth? Okay. I wandered lonely as a cloud, aka daffodils. All right, Marcus, this one's for you. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft when on my couch I lie in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud by William Wordsworth. Let's see, I think we could probably do a thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. I didn't even see the hat and the mustache. Here's one by Roy Croft, and it's simply called Love. Beautiful. Thank you, miss. I appreciate that. Daffodils is one of my mom's. Oh, your mom had great taste in poetry when you were a kid. That's great. Okay, Love by Roy Croft. I love you, not only for what you are, but for what I am when I'm with you. I love you, not for what you have made of yourself, but for what you are making of me. I love you for the part of me that you bring out. I love you for putting your hand into my leaped up heart and passing over all the foolish, weak things that you can't help dimly seeing there, and for drawing out into the light all the beautiful belongings that no one else had looked quite far enough to find. I love you because you are helping me to make of the lumber of my life not a tavern, but a temple. Out of the works of my everyday, not a reproach, but a song. I love you because you have done more than any creed could have done to make me good, and more than any fate could have done to make me happy. You have done it without a touch, without a word, without a sign. You have done it by being yourself. Perhaps that is what being a friend means after all. Roy Croft, Love. And here's another one. Yeah, isn't that good? Here's another one. Ella Wheeler Wilcox, who I've been really getting into her stuff lately. It's real simple, but it's just good. Ella Wheeler Wilcox, accept my full heart's thanks. And I think it's a good idea before you go to sleep to be in a good mood. Like think about love and things like that. You know what I mean? I just think this is healthy, probably for your mind. Your words came just when needed, like a breeze blowing and bringing from the wide salt sea some cooling spray to meadows scorched with heat and choked with dust and clouds of sifted sand that hateful whirlwinds, envious of its bloom, had tossed upon it. But the cool sea breeze came laden with the odors of the sea, and damp with spray that laid the dust and sand and brought new life and strength to blade and bloom. So words of thine came over miles to me, fresh from the mighty sea, a true friend's heart, and brought me hope and strength, and swept away the dusty webs that human spiders spun across my path. Friend, and the word means much. So few there are who reach like thee, a hand up over all the barking curs of spite, and give the clasp when most its need is felt. Friend, newly found, accept my full heart's thanks. Isn't that good? Barking curs of spite. That's so good. Human spiders that spin their webs across. I think we all know people like that. I know we all know people like that. Yeah, that's Ella Wheeler Wilcox. I just posted one of hers on my YouTube. Which one? I forget which one it was. But I've kind of been reading her lately, and I'm gonna do some more. I just really like hers. Coffee, David. It's a local roast. I think it's some kind of African blend. Anyway, it's really good. First time trying this particular one. Um, what was the? Accept my full heart's thanks by Ella Wheeler Wilcox was the name of that one. Everyone sang. I really like the war poets. I actually have a book of the war poets, and a lot of his stuff is in it. Let me see if I can find that one. Um, Everyone sang. I don't know if I've read that particular one by him, though. Siegfried Sassoon. Okay, everyone sang. Okay. So this is by Siegfried Sassoon, who was one of the World War I poets. Everyone sang. Everyone suddenly burst out singing, and I was filled with such delight as prisoned birds must find in freedom, winging wildly across the white orchards and dark green fields, on, and out of sight. Excuse me. Everyone's voice was suddenly lifted, and beauty came like the setting sun. My heart was shaken with tears. The horror drifted away. Oh, but everyone was a bird, and the song was wordless. The singing will never be done. Everyone sang by Siegfried Sassoon. Good choice there. Good choice. Here's another one that your cup's a little stronger. What do you got? What are you sipping on tonight, David? I was at a coffee shop in Manhattan, Kansas one time. I was in the Army, and 3 of my brothers came up. So one of them was a Marine veteran at this point, and then 2 of them were like in grade school. Buffalo's Trace. Okay. I got into a little of that myself the other day. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you for the suggestion. My brother, the Marine, had brought my younger brothers, and we went to this coffee shop, and he ordered an Irish coffee with, it's coffee with Jameson whiskey in it, and he didn't want my little brothers to know he was drinking like booze right in front of them, I guess. And so he was like, give me the Irish coffee. And he didn't really say anything. Well, then we went and waited down by the, a few, in the waiting area. And then the little barista said, she was like, okay, here's the vanilla latte, and here's the coffee with the alcohol in it. And then handed it to him, and he was like, oh, blew my cover. Anyway, the little brothers didn't care, of course, but he was trying to be incognito, and it just didn't work. Okay, so here's one by Anne Campbell called There Is Always a Place for You. There is always a place for you at my table. You never need to be invited. I'll share every crust as long as I'm able, and know you'll be delighted. There is always a place for you by my fire, and though it may burn to embers, if warmth and good cheer are your desire, the friend of your heart remembers. There is always a place for you by my side, and should the years tear us apart, I will face lonely moments more satisfied with a place for you in my heart. Anne Campbell, there's always a place for you. That's a great little poem there. So I'm trying to put my little charger on here. It's kind of a precarious little situation we got. Okay, let's see. What else we got? Here's Nixon Waterman. To know all is to forgive all. If I knew you and you knew me, if both of us could clearly see and with an inner sight divine the meaning of your heart and mine, I'm sure that we would differ less and clasp our hands in friendliness. Our thoughts would pleasantly agree if I knew you and you knew me. If I knew you and you knew me, as each one knows his own self, we could look each other in the face and see therein a truer grace. Life has so many hidden woes, so many thorns for every rose. The why of things our heart would see if I knew you and you knew me. Nixon Waterman. To know all is to forgive all. Honey, have a good one. Have a good night. Great day tomorrow. Thanks for coming. And then one of my favorite evening poems is Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Day is done. The day is done, and the darkness falls from the wings of night as a feather is wafted downward from an eagle in his flight. I see the lights of the village gleam through the rain and the mist, and a feeling of sadness comes o'er me that my soul cannot resist. A feeling of sadness and longing that is not akin to pain, and resembles sorrow only as the mist resembles the rain. Come, read to me some poem, some simple and heartfelt lay, that shall soothe this restless feeling and banish the thoughts of day. Not from the grand old masters, not from the bard sublime, whose distant footsteps echo through the corridors of time, for like strains of marital music, their mighty thoughts suggest life's endless toil and endeavor, and tonight I long for rest. Read from some humbler poet, whose songs gushed from his heart, as showers from the clouds of summer, or tears from the eyelids start, who through long days of labor, nights devoid of ease, still heard in his music, in his soul the music of wonderful melodies. Such songs have power to quiet the restless pulse of care, and come like the benediction that follows after prayer. Then read from the treasured volume the poem of thy choice, and lend to the rhyme of the poet the beauty of thy voice. And the night shall be filled with music, and the cares that infest the day shall fold their tents like the Arabs, and as silently steal away. That is Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. The day is done. Thank you very much for joining. I hope you have a great night's sleep and a great day tomorrow. Spike, is that I'm not sure what you mean by that comment there. Is that a poem, or are you pulling my chain like some people like to do on here? I banned my first person the other night on a live. They were just being annoying. They weren't being dirty or awful. They were just really just putting like spammy comments over and over and over. And I just got tired of her, and I said, "Could you please stop?" And she didn't. And so I said, "Bap," and I threw her out and closed the door. Let's see, what do we get? We grow accustomed to the dark. I don't know why. Well, I don't know. And every once in a while, I'll get a spammer. And I ignore them. And it takes, I suppose, when you are acting goofy, if you're not getting the attention you crave, then they go away. But this lady would not. Ignoring was not that she didn't want to be. That was not good enough for her. She had to keep being annoying, and that messes up for everybody else. It's not just me. What do you pull up, David? Okay, we grow accustomed to the dark. Okay, We Grow Accustomed to the Dark by Emily Dickinson. All right, what do we got here? Okay. We grow accustomed to the dark when light is put away, and when the neighbor holds the lamp to witness her goodbye. A moment, we uncertain step for newness of the night, then fit our vision to the dark and meet the road erect. And so of larger darkness, those evenings of the brain, when not a moon disclose a sign or star come out within. The bravest grope a little and sometimes hit a tree directly in the forehead, but as they learn to see, either the dark alters or something in the sight adjusts itself to midnight, and life steps almost straight. That's a good one. A lot to unpack in there. Oh, the podcast. Sweet. Sweet. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. Okay, listen, Chris, I am just seeing your comment there. Are you still in here? I have not heard of that one. Uh, no, I'm not I never really had a gothic phase until like the last couple years. Now I mean you don't know by looking at me, but I love gothic literature. That was great. I loved that. I don't wear it on the outside like a teenager, but I am pretty goth, believe it or not. Okay, let's see. I have not read this one before, Chris. So I always like being introduced to new poetry. Let me. Well, I thought I had it pulled up. Oh, here we go. Well, I'm having trouble finding. I mean, I see articles about it and stuff, but I can't find the actual poem. Here's a place to buy the book that contains it. The place that I normally have it is Poetry Foundation, but it just has an article about Kava Akbar, but it doesn't actually have the poem. Yeah, I don't know. You got any other ones, Chris, that you could recommend? The other ones by him are Morning Prayer with Rat King, Vines, River of Milk, Gloves, Forfeiting My Mystique, Waiting for the 12th, whoops, sorry, My Kingdom for a Murmur of Fanfare. Yeah, my apologies for that, Chris. I was wanting to check him out. Yep, there was an earthquake. Readjust my seating here. Oops. Okay. Mary Oliver's Felicity. Let's see if I can find that. I like Mary Oliver. I'm having some internet trouble on my pad here. Let's see, I think I fat fingered it, turned it off. Let's see. I don't know if I can. Is that a? It looks like a more of a collection. I do have this. I don't have. Marla, have a good night. Always a pleasure. Great to see you. Have a great day tomorrow. Owls and Other Fantasies by Mary Oliver. That's the only collection that I have. And then this one, Felicity, is like a collection that I guess you have to order or something. I don't own it. But while we got her, let's read her. You know what I mean? How's about Wild Geese? Wild Geese by Mary Oliver. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. Wild geese. Wicked Witch. That actually is an amazing idea, and I have thought of that. Oh, you bet, Chris. You bet. A PO box where we can flood you. I'm gonna think about that. Or like have a little like a Amazon wish list or something. I don't know. I need to do that. That's a good idea. And then it's like, hey, I just sent you a book. Can you read? That would be that's a good idea. I'm writing that one down. All right, let's see what else we got. Do a couple more before we go. Here is here's one by Alexander Pope. Quirky cat, what's going on? The red wheelbarrow. Yes. Uh the Atticus Finch. By the way, the ball for the first is in New Mexico next year. What? What are we talking about? The ball? What kind of ball? The first infantry? Unless, I mean, because I'm a first infantry boy. All right, Solitude by Alexander Pope. Really? That's interesting. I'm gonna have to keep that in mind. I've never gone to a reunion. Okay, Solitude. Happy the man whose wish and care a few paternal acres bound, content to breathe his native air in his own ground, whose herds with milk, whose fields with bread, whose flocks supply him with attire, whose trees in summer yield him shade, in winter fire. Blessed who can unconcernedly find hours, days, and years slide soft away in health of body, peace of mind, quiet by day, sound sleep by night, study and ease together mixed, sweet recreation and innocence, which most does please with mediation. Thus let me live unseen, unknown, thus unmolented let me die, steal from the world, and not a stone tell where I lie. Alexander Pope, Solitude. Oh, I got you, Chris. Okay. No, I guess I'm not familiar. Is that a poem or is that a like a book or compilation? David, what is it? What is Elko? Compilation. Okay. Yeah, I need to get me a PO box or something and have then get folks to like, hey, send me something. I'll read it. Cowboy poetry gather. Oh, I know I would enjoy that. That would be cool. Atticus, is she modern? Is she still alive? Or it was a she, wasn't it? Oh, love her wild. Okay, I don't even know. The is it? I'm assuming modern type of poetry. Okay, okay, still writing. Good deal. Uh, David, is that? I guess that would be something that Baxter Black used to go to. He recently, was it last year? He passed. I always liked his stuff, but he was a New Mexican, I think. All right, let me see. I think I had T.S. Eliot pulled up, and then I got distracted. Let's see. Rhapsody on a Windy Night by T.S. Eliot. 12 o'clock. Along the reaches of the street, held in a lunar synthesis, whispering lunar incantations dissolve the floors of memory and all its clear relations, its divisions and precisions. Every street lamp that I pass beats like a fatalistic drum, and through the spaces of the dark, midnight shakes the memory as a madman shakes a dead geranium. 1:30. The street lamp sputtered. The street lamp muttered. The street lamp said, Regard that woman who hesitates toward you in the light of the door, which opens on her like a grin. You see the border of her dress is torn and stained with sand, and you see the corner of her eye twists like a crooked pin. The memory throws up high and dry a crowd of twisted things, a twisted branch upon the beach, eaten smooth and polished as if the world gave up the secret of its skeleton, stiff and white. A broken spring in a factory yard, rust that clings to the form that the strength has left hard and curled and ready to snap. 2:30. The street lamp said, "Remark the cat which flattens itself in the gutter, slips out its tongue, and devours a morsel of rancid butter. So the hand of a child, automatic, slipped out and pocketed a toy that was running along the quay. I could see nothing behind that child's eye. I have seen eyes in the street trying to peer through lighted shutters, and a crab one afternoon in a pool, an old crab with barnacles on his back, gripped the end of a stick which I held him. 3:30. The lamp sputtered. The lamp muttered in the dark. The lamp hummed. Regard the moon. La lune negarde écune rancune. She winks a feeble eye. She smiles into corners. She smooths the hair of the grass. The moon has lost her memory. A washed-out smallpox cracks her face. Her hand twists a paper rose that smells of dust and old cologne. She is alone, with all the old nocturnal smells that cross and cross across her brain. The reminiscence comes of silence. The reminiscence comes of sunless, dry geraniums and dust in crevices, smells of chestnuts in the streets, and female smells in shuttered rooms, and cigarettes in corridors, and cocktail smells in bars. The lamp said, 4:00. Here's the number on the door. Memory, you have the key. The little lamp spread a ring on the stair. Mount. The bed is open. The toothbrush hangs on the wall. Put your shoes at the door. Sleep. Prepare for life. The last twist of the knife. T.S. Eliot, Rhapsody on a Windy Night. Let's see what we can do here. DH. DH lines. All right. D.H. Lawrence, Self-Pity. I never saw a wild thing sorry for itself. A small bird will drop frozen dead from a bough without ever having felt sorry for itself. Self-Pity, D.H. Lawrence. Thank you, David. Yeah, we actually just read Baxter Black earlier tonight, Alice Ann. Oops. Okay. All right. Let's see. I want to do a Elizabeth Barrett Browning. The well, this is a come and go kind of function. You know what I mean? No worries. Stay as little or as long as you like. Where is that one? I forget. Oh, this one is called Grief, and I don't know. I really like this one. Grief by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. I tell you, hopeless grief is passionless, that only men incredulous of despair, half taught in anguish, through the midnight air beat upward to God's throne in loud access of shrieking and reproach. Full desertness in souls as countries lieth silent bare under the blanching, vertical eye glare of the absolute heavens. Deep-hearted man, express grief for thy dead in silence like to death, most like a monumental statue set in everlasting watch and moveless woe till itself crumble to the dust beneath. Touch it, the marble eyelids are not wet. If it could weep, it could arise and go. Grief by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Let's see. A Burnt Ship by John Donne. Out of a fired ship, which by no way but drowning could be rescued from the flame, some men leaped forth, and ever as they came near the foe's ship, did their shot decay. So all were lost, which in the ship were found, they in the sea being burnt, they in the burnt ship drowned. Interesting. I wonder what if he's referencing a certain naval battle. That sounds like a very plausible outcome. Let's see. Here's Elizabeth Barrett Browning, Love. We cannot live except thus mutually we alternate, aware or unaware, the reflex act of life. And when we bear our virtue onward most impulsively, most full of invocation, and to be most instantly compellent, certes there we live most life, whoever breathes most air, and counts his dying years by sun and sea. But when a soul by choice and conscience doth throw out her force on another soul, the conscience and the concentration both make mere life love. For life in perfect whole and aim consummated is love in sooth, as nature's magnet heat rounds pole with pole. Love by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. And thanks for the heart with the Cupid arrow. That was good. I'm going to go about 10 more minutes and then I'm going to call her a night. So if you get one, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to read through this book. George Eliot, At Set of Sun. If you sit down at set of sun and count the acts that you have done, and counting find one self-denying deed, one word that eased the heart of him who heard, one glance most kind that fell like sunshine where it went, then you may count that day well spent. But if through all the livelong day you've cheered no heart by yea or nay, if through it all you've nothing done that you can trace that brought the sunshine to one face, No act most small that helped some soul and nothing cost, then count that day as worse than lost. Dreams by Langston Hughes. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field frozen with snow. So I've got a collection of his somewhere. It was on my desk, and I've been getting into him lately. Here's Khalil Gibran on friendship. Some of my favorite authors, most of my favorites are going to be classical, kind of like I love, John Donne. I love John Clare, uh, William Shakespeare, Christopher Marlowe. I like David. Good having you. Thanks for hanging out. It's good to see you. Um, Lord Tennyson, Lord Byron, Jane Austen, Emily Bronte. I like, most of the people that I really like are before, like, 1900, sometimes way before. Oh, that's a good one. Let's see. My dad used to read that one to me. I think I have that one memorized, but I won't try to make a fool of myself. Edgar A. Guest is a new favorite. Austen is Persuasion, but I like all of them. There's none that I dislike. Okay, It Couldn't Be Done by Edgar A. Guest. Somebody said that it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't, but he would be one who wouldn't say so till he tried. So he buckled right in with the trace of a grin on his face. If he worried, he hid it. He started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. Somebody scoffed, "Oh, you'll never do that. At least no one ever has done it." But he took off his coat and he took off his hat, and the first thing we knew, he'd begun it. With a lift of his chin and a bit of a grin, without any doubting or quit it, he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. There are thousands to tell you it cannot be done. There are thousands to prophesy failure. There are thousands to point out to you one by one the dangers that wait to assail you. But just buckle in with a bit of a grin. Just take off your coat and go to it. Just start to sing as you tackle the thing that cannot be done, and you'll do it. The love Edgar A. Guest. I'm kind of the same way with Edgar A. Guest being an exception. I really like his stuff. Really like his stuff. I love James Thurber. Short story, hilarious short story writer. Uh, but as far as poets go, most of them are um, Before 1900. Yeah, it's for the procrastination prone. It's for the people that, you know, like literally, in the army, I had a guy, we were, we had the certain kind of radio and we had to have a relay. So from where we were, and it had to go to this relay and then sort of get boosted out to the Syrian border where the rest of our guys were. And with just the standard radio, we couldn't hear him very well. And we also had to have like supply this little thing out there. And everybody said, "Oh, you got to have the relay. You got to have 5 guys out there by themselves," which that's kind of dangerous. And anyway, we my group didn't take no for an answer. We're like, "No, we're gonna figure this out." So I went and talked to one of the National Guard guys who ended up being a GM executive, and he was like, "Oh, I can actually I know how to hook you up with this radio antenna. You won't need the relay." And so we everyone said couldn't be done, but we said with a chuckle, maybe it couldn't, but we're gonna try it. And we went and we got this GM engineer to hook us up this weird little antenna, the only one in the U.S. Army, and we didn't need the relay. It went all the way to where we needed it to go without interruption. So that was fun. And that's, it's always fun when people say, "Oh, you can't, you can't do that. We've tried it. You can't, People told me you can't be a voice actor. I've tried it. There's no money in it. It's too saturated. And it's like, well, let me figure that out on my own first. And it turns out they were all wrong. I mean, they may be right for their situation because they weren't willing to put forth the effort, but that's not true of everybody. I do audiobooks. I've done maybe 26, I think I've done. Um, yeah, Chris, exactly. Exactly. Like, oh, you grew up with these circumstances or whatever. James Earl Jones had a stutter. And now we literally know him for his iconic voice. People made fun of him and Albert Einstein didn't talk to anybody till he was about 4. And his teacher told his mom he was an idiot, because he's an idiot. He doesn't talk. He's not on your wavelength, teacher. He's way smarter than you are. And yeah, anyway, that's exactly right. Yeah, some of them are in my link tree, and then some are on a couple different names, and a lot of them are early, and I'm not really proud of them as far as I just getting started. And I mean, the information is there, but it's like the maybe it's a little history book. I did one about Alexander Hamilton one time, which has since been taken down. I'll probably put it back up on my own because it's not supposed to be down, or put it on YouTube or something. But yeah, it's just an early book. It's not, it's not that great, but it got me started. Some people are afraid to fly, so they speak poorly. Yeah, that's very true. That is very true. Yeah, okay, I think we got time for one more. If anybody's got another on TikTok or YouTube, if you got a I'll do one more. Chris, you've been pitching some good ones tonight. What you got any more? Yeah, you can check the link tree there. I've got a few like compilations of classics that I've put together in that link, and then my podcast, and I have a lot of stuff on my podcast that's some of them are a couple hours long, and then on my YouTube, same thing. Have like a short stories, a playlist of short stories, and a playlist of poems and stuff like that. and I work on that pretty much every day lately. So, no, I did not. I did not. I have not looked up that. Mm, let's do let's do one more. Oh, that's right. I remember you mentioning that. Yeah, I kinda Googled it and I couldn't find anything besides, like, articles or something, so I well, no, that one's not the whole thing, that was like a piece of it. Here's one, here's a little bit, I think I read it, the other night. I think it's the only Plato quote in here, but it's a good one. "The Inner Man" by Plato. "Beauty depends on simplicity. I mean the true simplicity of a rightly and nobly ordered mind and character. He is a fool who seriously inclines to weigh the beautiful by any other standard than that of the good. The good is the beautiful. Grant me to be beautiful in the inner man." Plato. Alrighty, well, I am going to head to bed. If you like this kind of thing, check my link tree. I got absolutely, Chris. Thanks for the suggestions. Those are great, and great hanging out with everybody. Yeah, check my YouTube, like my link tree. Uh, got a YouTube podcast, things like that. There's a few titles on Audible. I'll probably try to put some more on there too. Um, but yeah, yeah, good deal. Well, thank you all very much. It was fun hanging out, and I'll see you soon. Night. All right. Good night, everybody.